it be? Me, your man, Louis T. Welcome to Wildcard Weekend Overtime. Titans, Patriots. Man, I cannot lie to you. This doesn't feel as good as I thought it was going to be, okay? I actually thought that I would be euphoric. You know what this felt like to me? And I thought I would have more of that reaction than I did this reaction. This feels like Kobe and Shaq sitting on the bench as the clock winds down versus the Detroit Pistons. Kobe's over there crying like a little bitch in his towel. And you knew it was over. They couldn't stand each other. They were there at each other's throats, and it was over. The Pistons were destroying them. The series was done. But more importantly, the Lakers' reign was over. And I was so excited when that happened. And I thought that's how I would feel when I saw these bad guys be put down for the final time. Because it's over in New England. This shit is over with. And I know we've done this before. Remember that Patriots Monday Night Massacre against the Chiefs? The one where there's that indelible image of Tom Brady sitting on the bench with a bunch of Gatorade cups on the floor, on the ground, as he's got his head down on the sidelines. And you thought it was done. And some reporter asked Bill Belichick after that game, you think about, benching Tom Brady and moving on from him. And he was like, what are you talking about? Like, we've done this before, but this is different. It's over. Like, Brady could be gone next year. Josh McDaniels is going to be gone. Like, he's going to Cleveland. It's over. It is over. I talked about this on the podcast. I said, I could honestly see them losing this game because that loss versus the Dolphins last week to wrap up the season, that was different. It's one thing when they lose a game, you're like, yo, that's unpatriot-like, but they'll bounce back. And they generally do. But it felt different. Even when they started 8-0, nobody was buying what they were selling. Even as they got to 12-4, 12-3 with a number one seed on the line, you're like, they're going to get that number, not number one, with the first round bye on the line and the number 2 seed on the line. Yeah, they're going to get that number 2 seed and get that first round bye. But you're still not confident that they won't lose the first game at Foxborough, but at least they'll be in a divisional round. And they'll be one game away from yet another AFC championship game. But then when they lost to the Dolphins last week, which was it was incomprehensible is what it was. I said to myself, and me and my dad had a nice, frank, candid conversation. Like, this shit could be over. We both erred on the side of caution because we've seen this from the Patriots before. And you never want to eat Patriots crow. It's the worst type of crow to eat. Because after they win, when you doubt them, you say, I should have never done that. It's the B&B winning factory. What was I thinking? So you never want to eat Patriots crow. It's the worst type of crow. Usually you choke on it. And after you're done, it leaves the nastiest taste in your mouth. And you realize, what was I thinking? It's the B&B winning factory. Why would I go against them? So we both erred on the side of caution and said, you know what? If Derrick Henry can run the football, they can win the game. But Bill Belichick knows that Derrick Henry is their secret weapon. It's really not a secret anymore. And he's going to devise a scheme. This is how you know the shit is over. Bill can't devise schemes anymore to take away what you do best. That shit ended in the Super Bowl last year versus the Rams. He can't do it anymore. It's done. And I thought that I was going to have that same Lakers versus the Pistons feeling when I knew it was over. And I don't. I feel like no, I'm not upset that they lost. But I told you guys a while ago, say goodnight to the bad guy, all right? Because you'll never, ever see a bad guy like this again. Like, bask in this. Say goodnight to the bad guys. You will never see a reign like this in any sport. I don't give a damn basketball, baseball. You'll never see this in football again. I can assure you of that. This league is set up for parity. All right? It's set up for your team who went 4-12 last year to come back and be 10-6, make the postseason, and have a shot next year. That's how this league is set up. You're not supposed to be able to have 17 straight double-digit win seasons. It's not set up for that. You're not supposed to have 9 straight AFC championship game appearances in a row. It's not set up for that. Yet the Patriots did that. And oh, by the way, on that whole run, they won 6 championships too. You're never going to see this again. And I know a lot of you are excited, like, to hell with them. Get their ass the hell out of here. I understand that. I totally get that. And I thought I was going to be the same way. I'm actually somewhat disappointed. I don't know why I feel this way. And shout out to the Titans for putting their ass down. The Patriots were an old dog that they had fleas and ticks, and somebody just needed to take them out back, put 2 in their head, and just lay them down. Nice and easy, man. Just lay them down, man. Put them out of their misery. These boys, they need to just go out. They don't need to be tortured. They don't need this to draw on and be a long, nasty, ugly, gruesome process. Just put them down quick, man. Nice and easy. And the Titans just did that. You know, and I said, it's only fitting. You know what would have been full circle as if this would have been a snow game and they would have lost this game on the foot of whoever the Titans kicker is now, because I don't even know. They've had 19 kickers this year. But that would have been fitting. But at least Mike Vrabel was there tonight to see this one through. You know, he deserves to be there. You heard him say he was upset when they traded him. You're damn right he was. He should have been. So was Willie McGinnis. So was, Richard Seymour. The list goes on and on. So was Lawyer Malloy. Okay, they do this all the time. He deserved this. He deserved this nice can of revenge. Revenge. And you know what I tell you, revenge is a dish best served cold. And this right here, what Mike Vrabel went into Foxborough and did tonight, cold-blooded. That was cold-blooded, man. And I thought it was a beautifully coached football game. I know some of you may be upset that he didn't go for it on that 4th and 5 after the fumbled snap by Tannehill that could have put this game away. I thought he did the right thing. Punt that bitch. They can't move it. Punt it. Make Brady and this inept offense go 70 yards to get in the field goal range. And trust me, it would have had to have been 70 because they got Nick Folk over there. Bill Belichick doesn't trust him any further than he can throw him. He didn't trust him at all. So they would have had to gotten into pretty much chip shot field goal range, right around 40, 45 yards, something like that, for him to feel comfortable enough to kick it. He wouldn't have had a choice. If it was a 53-yarder, he would have had to kick it anyway. I don't think he would have made it. Doesn't matter. Make them drive the distance of the field. They haven't done it pretty much all night. They hadn't done it since the first half. Make them prove that they can once and for all stamp that we're not dead label on this playoffs. Because as far as everyone can see, they're dead. Make them go the distance of the field. I thought it was a beautiful, even down to the pettiness, the chicanery, the type of shit Belichick has been doing for years. Okay? False start and delay a game to eat up the clock until they get under 5 minutes. Pure genius against the guy that pretty much invented pettiness in this league, in Bill Belichick. Pure, unadulterated genius on the part of Mike Vrabel. All right? It was a classic case of feeding somebody their own medicine. Here, come on, Belichick, take it. Come on. Open your mouth. Here you go. Oh, it's good. Tastes like garbage. But he had to eat it tonight. What a game by Derrick Henry. Man, I don't know if somebody's getting paid in the offseason. let me start there. Generally, backs don't get broken off. And, Zeke had to go to Mexico to get his money. Le'Veon Bell had to sit out an entire year to get less money than he was going to get from the Steelers. Melvin Gordon the third pretty much did nothing, didn't get anything. It's hard to get paid, man. Gurley messed it up for everybody. Derrick Henry's getting paid, okay? Derrick Henry is getting paid. 34 in an era where guys don't get over 25 carries. It's rare to see an NFL back have more than 25 carries in any given game. The man had 34. Ryan Tannehill had 8 completions tonight. 8! I don't think he had 100 yards passing tonight. Let that sink in, man. They won this game on the legs, on the back of Derrick Henry. Double Deuce was loose tonight. He was wild. They had no answer for double deuce. The deuce was loose. Ridiculous. And that was the only way they were going to win. And the Patriots couldn't stop it. I can tell you this much, though. When Tannehill had to make throws, he made them. When Ferkser had 2 catches in this game, there were no 2 bigger catches in the game than the 2 catches by Ferkser in this game. One for the touchdown and the other for the third down that pretty much put this game on ice. Ferkser was big in this game. Tannehill was big. Look, completions, man. I'm not going to sit here and try to get, Ryan Tannehill any kind of award for what he did tonight. But what he did do was he managed the game. When big throws had to be made, he made them. And on a big run, on a third down where he had to get the first down, he lowered his shoulder and he drug a defender for the first damn down. Okay, say what you want about Ryan Tannehill. It wasn't sexy tonight. And a lot of what he did was turn around and hand the goddamn football off. But when his number was called, he did an admirable job of managing the damn game. And I actually was upset at the Titans. The one thing I thought the Titans did wrong tonight, there was only one thing, is that they stopped running the football in the first half. After that initial touchdown drive to open up the game where Derrick Henry showed them, this is what you got coming to you all night long. All night long, all night. Oh, all night long, all night. All night. All night long. This is what you got coming. Get ready, because it's coming. And then they stopped. It's the same shit the Cowboys were doing when they lost all those games down the stretch, is they would start the game off like, hey, we got to feed Zeke. They would go down the field on that opening possession. They did it on Thanksgiving versus the Bills. They did it on Thursday night versus the Bears, where they took Zeke, rolled his back down the field, got in the end zone. And then after that, they forgot that he existed. I thought the Titans did that in the first half of this game. Went right down the field. I mean, a brutalizing first drive. I mean, that was a statement. Hey, we about to dig in your ass with the run game tonight. And then the next possession, they came out and they wanted to, Tannehill had the touchdown throw on third down and long. And it was like, hey, man, maybe Ryan could come out here and sling the rock. And the Patriots like, nah, that's what we do best, is shut down pass. We got the best defensive back in the league on our team. You probably want to go in a different direction. And so for about a quarter and a half, these boys were stuck on 7. And I'm like, what are you doing? And then, and you know what? What was so crazy, just like in the first game, there was a game-changing play that turned the tide of the entire game. And this wasn't a play in particular, like the sack by J.J. Watt in the first game of the day, but it was a sequence of events. Burkhead gets the screen. He runs all the way down to the 1-yard line. You're thinking, shit, they about to go up 17-7. I'm thinking in my head at that very moment, they're going to go in for 7 here, take a 17-7 lead. They're about to run away from these boys. Remember the last time these two teams met? Remember when the Titans went to Kansas City? And came back down, what was it, 19 points in the at halftime? They were down 19, I believe it was. And hawked those boys down. Mariota threw a pass to himself for a touchdown and won that game. Derrick Henry went nuts in the second half. And then they went to Foxborough the next week. They scored, I think, on the opening possession of the game, like 7 points, and then proceeded to get their asses whooped for the next 3.5 quarters. I thought that was about to happen. I said, they're going to make this 17-7. They're going to beat these boys 34-17 tonight. And then Rashaan Evans happened, okay? On the next sequence of plays, Rashaan Evans happened with a little sprinkle of the rookie up front. All right, Jeffrey Simmons. But Rashaan Evans happened. He went full Troy Polamalu, jumping over trash to get to Sony Michel, tackle for loss. They tried to run it again on third down. And this time, Jeffrey Simmons blows up the play. So now they got to go around Jeffrey Simmons. Here comes, you guessed it, Rashaan Evans. Clean his ass up, kick the damn field goal. That changed the whole tenor of this game. They go up 17-7. The Patriots are going to win this game. Instead, they settle for a field goal. It's 13-7. And then it's like a light bulb went off. They had an epiphany. Oh, shit. We got Derrick Henry. He was the league's leading rusher. How about we give him the football? He did have 53 yards rushing on the opening drive of the game. Let's give it to him again. What a novel idea. What a concept. And he literally took the football 75 yards on like 7 plays right down the field for a damn touchdown. Ryan Tannehill didn't attempt a single pass on the damn possession. They showed a crazy stat. And Tony Romo made the joke, like, this isn't basketball. You know how a guy can go on a personal 11-0 run by himself, you know, hit 3 threes, get a dunk, they call a timeout, and this guy's on an 11-0 run by himself. Derrick Henry had the Titans' last 91 yards in the game. That's crazy talk. 75 straight yards on that drive that gave them the lead. Really was the go-ahead score in the game at 14-13, right before halftime. And then proceeded to have another 16 yards rushing right out of the gate after halftime. It was insane. They couldn't stop him. That was the only thing the Titans didn't do all night long right, was they went about 3 straight possessions without running the football, pretty much. Outside of that, I thought it was a well-played game plan. I thought they went in with the idea that we're going to bludgeon them to death with the run game, and we're going to shorten the game. Even though the Patriots are struggling on offense, we're going to shorten this game. We're not going to keep giving Brady opportunities to beat us. And this is how you know this shit is over. And I told you Belichick couldn't make the adjustment. They couldn't stop the run tonight. Edelman dropped a pass on a second down that brought up a 3rd and 6, and they didn't convert. That would have been a first down. Who knows what that possession would have been if Edelman catches the football? Like, wait, this is really over. This shit is really over. Like, all of the kind of stars aligned. The only thing that the Titans didn't do was that pick 6 before half. That's exactly what it would have been. If Logan Ryan catches it, that would have been the icing on the cake. He later had one to finish the game off, but if they get that pick 6 before half and make it 21-13, this might get out of hand in the opposite direction. Either way, splendid game by the Titans. I don't know if they can do this again next week. As a matter of fact, I will tell you this much. The one weakness that I think the Ravens have is that you can run the football on them. I don't quote me on this, but look, the 49ers run it on everybody. So I'm a little apprehensive to make a definitive statement. But I will say this. I watched the 49ers run the football down the Ravens' throat. I watched the Bills have a semblance of success against the Ravens running the football. I think you can run the football if you have the same mindset that the Titans have. The Titans they're bullies. They've always been bullies. That's who they are. When they try to get cute and fancy, they can get a little bit out of whack. They've been scoring a bunch of points this season, especially once Tannehill took over. That's great. That's cute. But what they really are at heart is they're a physical football team that wants to mash you in your face with the run game up front. If they can do that and shorten the game with the Ravens, they will have a shot. I watched the Bills do it in Orchard Park about a month ago. I watched the 49ers do it about a month and a half ago in Baltimore, where they were right there with the Ravens. If you can slow the pace of the game down, and I know this is an oxymoron, but slow it down and speed it up at the same time. Slow it down by running it, but you shorten the damn game. If you can do that, you got a real shot at going to Baltimore and upsetting the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not going to project that to happen, but I wouldn't rule it out. This Titans team, man, they're scary. They're scary, and this was impressive. This was impressive right here. As for the New England Patriots, so many questions, not enough answers right now. I think Josh McDaniels is gone. I don't think Brady's going anywhere. I could never see Brady finish his career in another uniform. I just can't. I'm sorry. He's not ready to retire. So there's going to be a lot made of Brady, putting his house up for sale, all of that stuff that people have been talking about all year long. Guerrero putting his house up for sale and all of that good stuff. Look, all of that is cute to talk about, but at the end of the day, Tom Brady is a New England Patriot. Tom Brady's going to finish his career as a New England Patriot. It won't be the same. Losing Josh McDaniels isn't the same as just plugging in a new defensive coordinator, as they've done numerous times. When they lost Charlie Weiss, you're like, oh man, they're losing Charlie Weiss. They were fine. This is different. When they lost Charlie Weiss, they were in the infant stages of what has become a dynasty. All right, they were fine. They didn't know what they were losing at the time. This right here, losing McDaniels, who's been there for like damn near a decade now, it feels like. This is big. And it's going to affect Brady. And when I look at this whole thing, this whole organization, and at some point, it's hard to keep reloading. They've reloaded for so long. Edelman's not getting any younger. He dealt with a ton of injuries this year. You hope that N'Keal Harry develops and Mohamed Sanu check 1 2 1 2. Guess who? Mohamed Sanu with a full offseason may be able to really be a bigger help to this offense. You know, Dorsett at times was good, but he's been banged up, dealt with some injuries. The strength of this team right now is the running back position. And if they can find a way to get this offense to gel and mesh better, I think the defense will be fine. I think the defense will carry over to next year. I don't know if they'll be as good as they were this year, but they don't have to be if the offense is better. The offense was abysmal this year, which forced the defense to have to be great. And the defense, honestly speaking, outside of allowing Derrick Henry to absolutely gut them in a savage way, they weren't bad tonight. They gave up 14 points. They gave up 14 points tonight. Okay? Literally, they gave their offense time after time after time to go and win this game. And they just couldn't do it. And it's not like they needed a touchdown. They just needed a field goal. And they couldn't do that. They just needed a field goal, and they couldn't even do that. So, say what you want about this Patriots defense. They gave it up on the ground. And when they needed to stop at the end, they couldn't get it. I understand all of those things. But I've said this a million times in this league. If you hold an opponent to under 20 points, you're supposed to win 95% of the time. That's just the way it goes in this league. It's so hard to stop teams from, with all the advents of these rules and what they've done to protect offenses and help them score. It is so tough to keep a team under 20 points in the modern NFL. In this era that we're in right now, it is tough to keep a team from 20 points. And if you do that, you deserve to win the game. The Patriots defensively did that. Problem was, so did the Titans, and they happened to keep them to one less point at the time before the pick six at the end. It's rough. That's tough because defensively you did your part, which is what you did all year long. And unfortunately, you ran from this all year. And that's the thing I love about the playoffs is you don't get to play the Jets. There are no Jets here. All right? There isn't the Redskins or the Giants. You're not going to be able to get by by just playing enough defense and winning the game. You better come with your damn A game or you'll get beat because everybody in the playoffs are good. There are no walkovers. There are no pushovers. Nobody's going to lay down for you. There are no Cleveland Browns here. No one's going to turn it over 6 times so you can win the game 21-13. You actually got to go out and win the game. And they weren't able to do that tonight. So hats off to the Tennessee Titans for getting it done. That was a well-played game by them, and they did just enough to win. Let's take some comments. All right. See, we got a slew of comments, too. I'll try to get to as many of these as I can before we get out of here. All right. Storm says, I don't know if the Pats dynasty is truly over because of Bill Belichick. But if this is the end, then I'm glad I got to watch the two of the GOATs, no matter how frustrating it ever got. I agree. I concur with that statement. Because you'll never see this again. And I've said this a million times over this run. Appreciate it. I used to say the same thing about Peyton Manning. Whether you loved him, you hated him, whatever the case may be. I told you to bask in the greatness that was Peyton Manning. Bask, and I told you the same thing with this B&B winning factory. Bask in the greatness that is the B&B winning factory. You call them cheaters, whatever you do, just make sure after you say all of that stuff, you call them the best ever. The best ever. So you can call them cheaters, the cheatriots, all of that shit y'all like to do. That's fine. After you're done with all of the chicanery, at the end, put best ever, period. And then just walk away. Because that's what it is. Ed says, this might be the end of the dynasty. Atlas says, the end of an era. Niners fan says, this is the end of the dynasty, Lou, and I am ecstatic. I thought I would be ecstatic too. I thought I would be a lot more euphoric. Thought I would be really joyous. I'm not. I wanted them to go out. I did not want to see them in the AFC Championship game again. I felt like Kansas City was the team I wanted to see do it, though. I wanted to see the torch passed. I felt like it wasn't a fluke, but this wasn't supposed to be the team that did it. I needed I needed it to be symbolic, if you get where I'm coming from. Like Scarface when he died, like he crossed the wrong guy. He had to go. He was self-destructing. He needed to go. He had to pay. Tony had to pay. I felt like the Titans weren't the guy to execute the Patriots. They weren't supposed to be the team. It needed to be like the Chiefs or the Ravens. Preferably the Chiefs. But it is what it is. Reese says, Lou, somebody slayed the dragon. Yes. Yes, they did. Craig Smith says, the end of the evil empire, Lou? Yes. Yes, it is. Eddie Rodriguez says, the world has won today. Eddie Rodriguez says, the world has won today. Oh, my goodness. The 20th Mike says, dang, Lou, you were saying this all year, and it finally caught up to the Patriots, and it was their own house. Team starting to figure out the Patriots. Niners fan says, the Titans kind of scary, Lou. I think they pose a problem for the Ravens because that defense has never played a rushing attack like the ones the Titans have. And they have. It was the San Francisco 49ers. And the 49ers ran the football effectively. And I just said that not even 5 minutes ago, so we're kind of on the same page. Craig Smith says, I'm with you, Lou. I think I realized I don't really hate Brady. It's the organization. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Brady's the GOAT. And I've always had a problem with the Patriot way. Never Brady. Never Belichick, even though he is the poster child for the Patriot way. I've never had a problem with Brady or Belichick individually. It's the entire organization that I have a problem with, from Kraft all the way down. So, yeah, it's always been that way for me, though. Niners fan says, has there been a player this season who has regressed as much as Taylor Lewan? Well, remember, he started out the season with that suspension, and I don't know if he ever really got into the full swing of things. He's solid. I don't think he's elite like he once was, but he may be back next year. Who's to say? Mr. TNA says, Lou, this might be over, but what if Rivers goes to New England and they won 2 more Super Bowls? I'd say good for Phillip Rivers. I don't think anyone would be really ecstatic at that happening. Rivers, you would be happy for him individually, but nobody wants to see the Patriots win 8 Super Bowls, especially if Tom Brady isn't the one quarterbacking them. Reese says, what is Tom Brady's future? Retirement, new team, back in New England? I can't see him. First of all, he's not retiring. So you could go ahead and throw that one out. He's not retiring. He's not ready to give up football. Secondly, can you see Tom Brady in another uniform? No, you can't. I know you couldn't see Joe Montana in a Kansas City Chiefs uniform. I know you couldn't see Brett Favre in a Minnesota or a Jets uniform, and it happened. But that's not what's happening to Tom Brady. I don't see it happening. He'll be back in New England. JP says, if Brady decides to play elsewhere next year, which teams could be after his services? I don't know. That's a tough question to answer right now because we got to see what teams need quarterbacks. You know, you can feel like teams have their quarterback position pretty much pegged right now, and then, you know, a team like Tampa Bay could say, hey, Tom, we're ready to win right now. Come to, Tampa Bay with all these weapons we have. You know, the Chargers could say the same thing. We're getting rid of Phillip Rivers. Hey, Tom, come in here and take us to the Super Bowl. Who's to say? I don't know. He's not going anywhere, so I'm not really trying to entertain that. You know, if Brady said, I'm not coming back to New England, but I want to play, then I'd really have that conversation. Niners fan says, Ryan Tannehill has finally figured it out. I'm happy for him, and he'll be a Titan for the next 5 years. He's getting a deal with what he's done in the final, 7 games of the season, whatever it was. They started out 2-4, and so that's 6 games. So the final 10 games of the season, and what he's just done in the playoffs, going to the Patriots and slaying them, going to Foxborough and slaying the Patriots. Yeah, and before the playoffs had started, I talked about this on the podcast, and literally the very next day after I did my podcast, there was a story released that the Titans were they wanted Tannehill back long term. Well, this did nothing but further that agenda of making sure that Ryan Tannehill is a Tennessee Titan moving forward. Atlanta fan 21 says Eli Manning going to New England next year. Calling it now. No way. No way. Reese says, what was the point of Vrabel going for 2 with 9 seconds left? Was he overthinking? No, that was a brilliant idea. I would have done the same exact thing. You're literally yelling, bro, you need to go for 2 right here. The reason why is just in case some craziness happens. It's the Patriots. It's Foxborough. You just want to make sure you check every box. And what he was doing in that situation was saying to himself, on that pick, Logan Ryan probably should have went down at around the 2-yard line so they could have taken a knee to guarantee victory. But he was excited. He was caught up in the moment. I would have done the same thing. I would have ran the shit in for a pick 6, okay? That's what players do, generally. But by doing that, the game wasn't over. And let's say, by some miracle, the Patriots find a way to score. You just wanted to have it out of reach. The difference between 7 and 8, really not that much of a difference. Because if you kick the extra point and it's 8, I'm pretty sure the Patriots feel confident they can convert a 2-point conversion. If it's 7, then you force the Patriots to kick an extra point. They don't love their field goal kicking situation with Nick Folk. Either way, you felt good about 7 or 8. What you felt really good about, because the game would officially be over, is 9. 2-score game. That's why he went for 2. He wasn't overthinking it. I would have done the same thing. Anyway, Niners fan says, I watched the Bills-Texans rapid react, and all I heard was excuses for Josh Allen. I love him too, Lou, but you got to chill with the excuses. No excuses. Josh Allen was good in that football game. He made some boneheaded decisions. I admitted that. But there are no excuses. That was his first playoff game. And trust me, Jimmy G is going to make mistakes, which is why you're not going to make it to the Super Bowl. Because Jimmy G hasn't been to the playoffs before. He's never been, and he's going to make some mistakes. It's what comes with the territory. Rarely do you show up for the first time in the postseason and just get all the way to the chip. It's why Patrick Mahomes had to take the L in the championship game last year. You don't just get to show up. It's rare. It's happened before. It's happened before. Teams just show up. Players just show up, and they get all the way to the chip. Rarely do you win it, though. Rarely do you win it. Got to take your lumps. That's how this thing goes. You'll find out soon enough. You will. Azad Bilal says, first Kawhi ends the Warriors dynasty. Now Derrick Henry has ended the Pats dynasty. America has its new hero, ladies and gentlemen. JP says, it's pretty obvious the dynasty is over in New England. Going to be a long rebuild for the next several seasons for them. I wouldn't go that far, and I wouldn't. That's, JP, one of your biggest issues is that you are an extremist. You're either on this end or you're way over there. Like, what in your mind tells you that as long as Belichick is there, even if Brady isn't back, with all of the free agent quarterbacks that are out there, what makes you think they can't pluck one of those guys, run the football, do some really solid things? This defense is pretty much going to continue to stay intact. What makes you think that they can't win 11 games next year, contend for the AFC East again, and be back in the postseason? They may not win another Super Bowl. They may not win another Super Bowl for 30 years. But what makes you think they can't be competitive? Like, you make it sound like Belichick's retiring, Brady's retiring, Josh McDaniels is going off somewhere else, and this shit is over. It's not over. They may have to retool a bit, but the days of Patriots dominance, I think, is done. I think that's over with. Ali Saad says, wonder who's going to be the villain with the Patriots dynasty over now. I don't know, man. And every sport needs a proper villain. Like, you know what the NBA is for me right now? It's anticlimactic. And you know who the new villain is going to end up being? The Los Angeles Lakers. But guess what? They're not even the villain that they used to be. They were a great villain when it was Kobe and Shaq. Oh, it was so easy. If you weren't a Lakers fan, you hated the Lakers. Then it became the Warriors. There's not a proper villain in the NBA, and I don't really care right now. I don't care about the NBA right now, to be honest with you. In Major League Baseball, the Yankees have always been the villain. they don't feel like a villain right now. But in the NFL, there's been a villain for almost 2 decades, and they've been the best villain we've ever seen. You can't top the Patriots and the evil empire. They have reigned supreme over this league for 2 decades, and no one has come close. And they've ruled with an iron fist, and they did it with some dirty, nasty, dirty, dastardly tactics that we have been upset about. They've thrown the Patriot way in our face and laughed, and they've won. And now it may be done. And I am not really that thrilled about it. I'm not. And I guess because I'm an NFC guy, they never affected me. I could care less about what the Patriots do. I'm an NFC guy. My team resides, so they weren't stopping me from doing anything. We were stopping ourselves. Now, if you were in the AFC, that shit had to be really frustrating. You know? Sort of like if you're in a Western Conference, that shit had to be really frustrating. Hell, if you were in the East with LeBron, whenever he was in the East, that shit had to be frustrating. Because you knew you weren't getting, there was a cap, there was a ceiling. You knew you weren't getting past LeBron in the Eastern Conference Finals. You knew you weren't getting past either the Spurs or the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. Had to be frustrating. And in the AFC, you knew you weren't getting past the Patriots in the AFC. You had to be one or two teams to get past them. And most likely, that team had to be quarterbacked by Peyton Manning. You had to be the Denver Broncos or the Indianapolis Colts. One of the two. And it's crazy because, or the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens had the Patriots number at times in the postseason, but in any event, you're never going to see this again. You're not. And I don't know who takes over the role. I don't know. Anyway, Atlanta fan 21 says, nah, man, I ain't going to miss the Pats at all if this is their end. I'm not saying you should miss them. You just should miss. Okay, I am saying you should miss them. And you're right. If you feel that way, I'm not going to convince you otherwise. Because I thought I would feel that way too. I felt that way. Generally, when these types of dynasties crash, this is how you feel. You usually feel excited. Yes, it's finally over. I thought it was going to feel like communism. And you know, the excitement that those people had when communism was over. The Berlin Wall was down. They were free. I'm not feeling that way right now. Maybe I will tomorrow. Maybe I will in the offseason. Maybe I will when the next season starts. I don't right now. Anyway, I'll read a couple more comments. We'll get out of here. JP says, on behalf of NFL fans everywhere, thank you, Tennessee, for ending the Pats dynasty. Celebrate, he says, because it's going to be wide open league next year knowing that the Pats are done. Again, I'm not willing to go off the deep end. I just feel like I told you before the postseason started, the Bills are no longer afraid of the Patriots. So that was one domino set in motion. Okay, they were already saying to themselves, we can win this division next year. What this says is it doesn't say that the Patriots are going to be 6-10 next year. It doesn't say they're going to be 8-8 next year. What it says is that they're going to have to fight for everything that they get next year. The division isn't going to be, they're not going to sweep the division. All right. Like they've done for the last however many years straight, except for the Dolphins, that one game every year that they lose to Miami. They've been 5-1 in the division. Last 3 years, 4 years running. That's not going to be the case next year, most likely. But they may still be 11-5, 12-4. They still may make the postseason. They still may get a first round bye. Who's to say? It just won't feel the same. That's all. That's it. Ali Sai says, damn, Lou, my Raiders should have been the ones that laid them down. I don't feel satisfied, bro. Well, you guys are far away from being the ones that laid them down. But someone did, and they were the Tennessee Titans. So that's going to do it for me, your man, Louis T. Titans. Man, that was a hell of a football game by the Titans. I must admit, I did not see what they did coming. I really didn't. And for them to dominate on the ground the way that they did, that was disturbing. And if you're the Ravens, take notice. That was impressive. As for the Patriots, it's going to be a long offseason with a ton of questions. But when it's all said and done, I have faith that the B&B winning factory will be back like cook crack. It will not be the same. Josh McDaniels will not be around. The mystique that the Patriots had for the last 2 decades, I think it's starting to wane. But I surmise that those two will be back at it next year. And they may have a chip on their shoulder. And it may serve them well. But I'm just telling you right now, it won't feel the same. For as far as I'm concerned, the reign of terror by the New England Patriots, it's over. I'm your man, Louis T, signing off. Remember, if it's not your man T, it's not the best NFL coverage that it could be. We will do this again tomorrow. Starting off with that 1 o'clock matchup of Vikings at Saints. We'll break that down here on the Louis T Network. Looking forward to that. Hope those games are as entertaining as the games today were. We got a nice start to the 2019-2020 NFL playoffs. Wildcard weekend started off with a bang. 2 really good AFC contests. Let's hope the NFC lives up to the billing tomorrow as well. So we know the matchups for the divisional round in the AFC. These Titans, as your 6th seed, will travel to Baltimore to take on the Ravens on Saturday night. Meanwhile, the Houston Texans will travel to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Most likely on Sunday. I think they'll mix it up. One AFC, one NFC on each day. But we'll see. But we know the matchup. So looking forward to those games and also looking forward to those NFC contests tomorrow. And until then, I'm your man Louis T signing off. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the Louis T Network if you haven't already done so. Also, make sure that you check out the Louis T Network podcast. I actually did it live. It's on YouTube. Check it out. And if you want to go check up on some old podcast episodes, they're all in the archives on the website louistnetwork.net, but also on any streaming platform that you could think of. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on TuneIn. It's on Spotify. It's on Google Music Play. Anywhere you can get a podcast, it's there. Spotify. You name it, it's there. Check it out, Louis T Network Podcast. I'm your man, Louis T. I'm out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. Have a good one. Is it really over? Man, it might be over. Louis T Network.